And
John
that's
says he's very conflicted, and I want to know what he's conflicted about. What are you conflicted
Why
about
is
this
John
week, John?
conflicted?
because it's Fulham versus United this evening. I obviously support Fulham, but I'm currently losing to Jack, and I need Bruno and Ahmad to get over 15 points between them. So I'm watching this game very much with clenched cheeks. Not a good time.
So like a 5-4 win for Fulham would suit you down to the ground, then, kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely to the T.
But here's the thing. Here's the twist. And good evening, everybody. There are 3 games in our league that are too tight to call right now with the last game of the weekend on. We have Gary, you're playing me. And
Yes.
it's quite simple. You need a 16-point gain from Hoyland over Leno.
No, Hoyland and Wilson over Leno. I have Harry Wilson in my team.
He does have Harry Wilson in his team.
Oh dear.
Hey,
Now I am less
now
cocky.
it gets interesting.
Is he
Yeah.
starting?
You ever want to see Jimmy fall off his pedestal? You've just seen it.
It's Immobile and Wilson on the wings. I benched Emil Smith Rowe because he traditionally doesn't play against the big teams. So Marco Silva doesn't consider Man United a big team because Emil Smith Rowe
That's a
bit of an underhand
doesn't play against Chelsea, City, Liverpool. He's been benched in favour of another defensive-minded midfielder, and he's playing tonight against United. So I benched him for today.
And the third game that is still ongoing, and this would be a kind of in line with form, but a huge upset in the grand scheme of things.
Josie.
The young man in Spain, Dermot, is against Joey, who hasn't really reared his head above the bottom half of the table all year. Not one of our more active players this season as yet. That's okay. But it's looking like he could catch Dermot and bring our league leader to an L3 streak. And if that happens,
to say Dermot's been struggling.
Yeah, but have you looked at his team? Like when you look at his team,
the grin, Jimmy, I love it. It's like the evil Joker grin. It's great.
What happens is if he loses and I win, we'd be level on points, but my points difference is about twice everyone else's, so I would go top of the league.
So everyone is hoping that I beat you this week. You know?
They sure bloody are. I'll be interminable. Yeah. But Dermot has been on a terrible slide lately. This will be 3 in a row he's lost, which hasn't happened to anyone in the, and I don't like this term, but the big 3 of the season, which is myself, himself, and Dave. And nobody's really lost more than 1 in a row. I lost 2. At one point, but for the most part, 3-game losing streaks aren't happening at that end of the table this year. So it is interesting to see the wheels come off. I think his problem is quite simple. He is inextricably tied to the fortunes of Tottenham Hotspur and Nottingham Forest.
And who have gone either of those games without a win.
Yeah. Which I think is good, man. Beat me to it.
Speaking of which, can we talk about it? Can we talk about the elephant in the room, Big Ange, and how much shit he's probably in? Is he seeing the weekend out? What are we thinking?
I think he'll get one. See, the problem with Ange now is he's already started to come up with the excuses. He's come out with, don't expect me to do anything unless that's fair, but every team has to deal with it at some point. But he's obviously feeling the pressure. He's come out and said, don't expect him to turn this around unless more signings are going to come in. Traditionally, Tottenham are not that big a buying club. Daniel Levy does not like spending money. We know this. So he's already putting the excuses in place for him to be gone. I think he'll get one more game, and then he'll be given
the thing for me is the 16 injuries plays a part, right? Like it's an awful lot of players. They're playing a child at centre back at the moment who's traditionally a winger / midfielder, and he's performing admirably in my opinion. Like it's just the overall problem. Archie Gray is doing fine. He's not the problem there, but he shouldn't be there. Like he shouldn't be playing. But 16 injuries to a team like Tottenham is a big deal. It's a lot. And remember, they're in the Carabao Cup against Liverpool. They're still in the FA Cup. They're still in the top qualifying group in the Europa League. Like, Ange said earlier in the year he traditionally wins something in the second league. And if you were to say to any Tottenham Hotspur fan, you're going to finish where you are in the table, 13th, 14th, but you'll win one of those competitions. Do you think any of them wouldn't take that?
Oh, they absolutely would.
I forgive me, guys. I'm looking at this from a business point of view, right? Okay, this lad has a job to do.
Daniel Levy. Okay, let's go.
No. I mean Ange. I mean, if they were going to kind of fire him for the situation he's in with this massive lack of central defenders, they would have done it by now. They've obviously taken the decision to allow him to continue, knowing that there was a risk there. This is that risk playing out. They don't have a defense. Yeah. If they were going to get rid of him, why next weekend and not last weekend? Do you remember, I've since they gave Southampton that hockeying just before Christmas, they haven't done anything good. They're right now, I believe, 16th in the table, 15th or 16th. And Leicester won today, making the talk of the drop isn't actually that wild. Like West Ham, Spurs, and United are all within 7 points of that melee at the bottom. It can go wrong very, very quickly in the Premier League. I think they're sticking with Ange because I think if he had his players right now, they'd be sacking him because he wouldn't be getting anything out of them. Yes. But from a business point of view, he's obviously gone to them and gone, right, well, I don't have players. You don't want to buy players. I'm going to do what I can do. I'm not sure that many managers really perform better than him in this situation. But if he goes, where does he go and who takes that job?
See, the thing is, for me, they're 1-0 up going into the second leg of the Carabao Cup semi-finals against Liverpool. There's a good now, Daniel Levy, to be fair, he fired Jose Mourinho the week of a Carabao Cup final and replaced him with Ryan Mason, which I think that had to do with a trophy clause in Mourinho's contract that he was going to get an absolute wad of money, and they had a falling out. It's the only explanation I can come up with because you don't fire Mourinho the week of a final. But
makes sense.
They're in a cup semi-final. They have the lead in said semi-final. I don't think you fire him now. They don't have players. But at the same stage, the way he's come out in the last few press conferences, staring at his shoes and kind of getting... I love listening to Ange Postecoglou press conferences. They're some of the best things in football. But over the last few weeks, you can definitely see that change in mannerism where he's just what you want.
He's definitely feeling the pressure. I mean, particularly with some of the tactics that he comes up with are completely batshit crazy. I mean, was it last season he finished one of the games with 2 defenders and 4 midfielders, 6 up top or whatever the hell? Yeah. But it's brilliant. I think he would be a huge loss to the league if he did go. I think he's a character. In the same vein as someone like Big Sam was a character. Shit manager, but big character. I think, to Jimmy's point, do you get rid of him at this stage? Probably not. I mean, I don't know when that second leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final is. I should because I'm a Liverpool fan. It's 2 weeks' time. Maybe that's the line in the sand. If they get through to the final, he sticks around, and if not, then the only thing that's left to play for is survival. I know they're still in the FA Cup, but it's only the 4th round at the moment, so it's not a realistic target for them right now. So survival is the only thing you play for if Liverpool beat them, as I expect them to.
I don't. And the only reason I don't is because Liverpool next week have a double game week, and then they'll have another league game, and then so in that time frame, Spurs, where you'll be playing 4 games, Spurs will be playing 2.
Yeah, but they'll be playing 2 with, a kid at centre back, and
true.
Whatever way you spin it, Liverpool look very.
Oh yeah, I'm not. We'd like to think Liverpool should do it in a second leg of a semi-final, and it's only 1-0 in the difference at Anfield as well. So you'd like to think Liverpool would do it, but at the same stage, Joe, I agree with you. Line in this, I think that's how long they hold on to Ange. Yeah. And if he gets him a trophy, he's bulletproof. Go buy him some players and get it done.
Oh, if he wins a trophy, he's bulletproof for 2 years at least. But if they get rid of him, to Jimmy's point, who comes in? There's nobody out there.
Potter. Graham Potter's out there doing nothing, isn't he?
He's at West Ham.
No, he's at West Ham now.
Oh, he's at West Ham now, isn't he? Of course. Yeah.
But it could be maybe it's I don't know. If you look at the managers who have moved on already from Everton, Sean Dyche is there. He's not going to Tottenham, and Tottenham I don't think are taking him. Ten Hag? No.
I've said before, he's a Spurs manager.
You have said that before on this pod, to be fair. You have.
I have said it before. He smells of a Spurs manager, in my opinion.
Yeah, but does Daniel Levy take on a manager who's been sacked by United, who were essentially at the same level as Spurs right now?
He's done that before with Jose Mourinho.
Yeah, but not at that. There was a much bigger gap between Mourinho leaving United and going to Spurs. At this stage, if it's in the same season, there's a whiff of sloppy seconds off it. To be perfectly honest,
there is
Lopetegui from Wolves. I actually think he got not from Wolves. Sorry, West Ham. He was at Wolves previously, wasn't it? I actually think he got abroad.
Something like that.
I think that's who. Yeah, I think that's who he looks at. He Lopetegui is obviously living in London.
The answer is Gareth Southgate. He's the Spurs manager if they sack Ange.
He's the Spurs fan or the manager they need.
Yeah,
maybe. I think they look at Lopetegui. He's living in London at the moment, obviously because of West Ham. I think he got a raw deal at West Ham. And
everyone seems to. West Ham seems to be one of these places where they just screw over managers all the time. From the little bit I'm learning from lovely articles that John has written on Statrcast.com. But West Ham seems to be a pretty bad place to go career-wise.
Yeah, it's the void. It's nearly like the void, isn't it? I think it's like nothing really ever happens.
As a player, it's a fucking great club to play for. Like Jared Bowen is loved by the fans. Mark Noble was a hero of football. Like that man, just like you'd hear stories of him like sweeping up the dressing room after games and like on the wages that they'd be on. And he's just like, this is how it's done. Like proper dressing room.
Didn't he celebrate their European win with a 6-pack of beer instead of like champagne or something like that?
Yeah,
like, that's brilliant.
But this is like they do have a dressing room where players go in like Jared Bowen over the last few years. It would be very hard, I think, for a bigger club to pull him out of there because I just think how he's appreciated by the fans is huge. I think as players, they do when they have their players, they back their players. I think as a manager, it's a bit of a poison chalice because you're also dealing with Sullivan in terms of at the board level. Like they've always been a bit loose at the hip with the old trigger finger and stuff like that. So, and the fan base is quite tough because there's a West Ham way, like in the bunny ears of, they've always had academy players coming through. They had that golden era where it was Joe Cole, Rio Ferdinand, and they've always tried to play football, attacking football. So David Moyes would have been the absolute picture of the worst possible candidate that he'd be known for more negative football, which isn't actually true because his Everton teams back in the day with Stephen P and Aaron Fellaini played fucking amazing,
great football. And he's their most successful manager in the last 20 years. He brought them he got them a European win. It's like,
whereas if his name was like Mozeli or something like that, it would be far more appreciated. It would be like the European tactical masterclass that got us a trophy. I think it's just he's an unfancied character, whereas Lopetegui would have been seen as more exotic and
he's not. He's not. To be frank about it, he's not sexy enough for a club like West Ham. West Ham. I think that's absolutely. But I think that's part of the problem where West Ham on the board level want to play the sexy football. They want to be seen as this team who play the good stuff and look like a team who, like a mini Barcelona. Their fan base are not like that. Their fan base are very, very passionate. They're, Vinnie Jones-esque when it comes to how much they love their club. They would live and die for that crest. I would wonder whether or not the board appreciate that, and that's why there's maybe that gap between the potential for a club like West Ham, because they do have huge potential. To be fair, they've got a huge fan base. They play at the London Stadium, which was built for the Olympics.
Beautiful.
So the foundations are there, but I think there's that disconnect between what the board would like to see versus what the fans expect. Maybe that's the problem, and maybe it's the wrong. Someone like Potter who's coming in who has a bit of steel about him.
Perfect.
His Brighton team were very, very good to watch, but at the same time could break you in two if they needed to.
He would also be
With the
seen
likes
as
of Caicedo in the team, maybe he's
he'd
the
also
right
be seen
mix,
as
right? Maybe he's
innovative.
that balance.
I think he'd also be seen as innovative and a forward-thinking manager, whereas someone like Moyes at the end of their career would have been seen as expected. We expect this certain type of dour football, whereas someone like Potter,
Yeah.
His Brighton team was known for how they played, the way they passed. As you said, Barcelona light was their style.
They were known for that, but they were known for that on a solid foundation as well. Like they
Yeah,
were built on that axis of Caicedo and McAllister, who again Caicedo could break it in two when he was there. I think, and Jimmy, you can
same as
stat check me on
McAllister.
this, but I would imagine the Caicedo's tackle stats for the season before he moved to Chelsea were
insane.
probably through the roof.
Insane.
They were
Insane.
Yeah. So I think that's the thing with Potter. He is that balance of keeping everything nice and tidy. He probably needs to get the players in to do that, to be fair, but keeping things
They need a
nice and
forward.
tidy and tough at the back, tough to beat,
Yeah,
but attractive going forward. And it's going to take him a couple. Like I'm sure people who are listening to this tonight will go, "Well, West Ham are pretty shit at the moment."
Well,
Yeah,
the
it's going
last
to take
couple of
them a
games
little
since
while to
Potter's
come
come in,
into.
they've definitely improved since Potter came in. Like they barely lost. Well, they barely beat Fulham. They got a draw today from the grasps of a loss. Like they've definitely a bit more.
Yeah, but they lost the week in between. Just to give you some of the numbers here, right? I'm just looking at their assets in the last 30 days, right? And it's all bruisers. It's all bruisers. Souček, Alvarez, Soler. These are the only guys who are getting anything resembling points. Never mind decent points. In the last 14 days, right? We'll disregard the Fulham match. It's Emerson and Wan-Bissaka are getting all the points, but nobody's really shining statistically. This thing about getting forward would be grand, but for that to work, don't you need to have some forwards?
Which they're looking to sort out with a big bid for John Duran there the other day. 57 million, and it got rejected.
For who?
John Duran from Villa.
John Duran.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Villa's perennial bench warmer or super sub, whichever way you want to look at it.
They don't need Duran if they use Bailey properly, but 57 and they knocked it back.
Bailey or Malin, who they've just brought in. To be fair, they brought Malin in from Borussia Dortmund as well.
He's very good.
We had a bit of a to do about this, John, didn't we? Actually, around Duran and
Watkins,
his
Mateta.
Well, Duran
57 million is a lot of money. Well, what's it? Wolves have also gone in for Nottingham Forest have also gone in for Cunha, and the money that's like, it's annoying. Go on, talk to me.
I actually haven't heard of Forest going in for Cunha. I've heard they went in for Wissa from Brentford at just under 30 million, I think, which was insulting in today's market.
Way low. He's been top notch.
57 million for John Duran is inflated, but it's Premier League pricing. I am very firm in the belief that John Duran and Mateta from Crystal Palace are very, very similar. They both produce to the same level. I've actually delved into this. If you look at the stats between the two of them, they both made just over 20 appearances. So Mateta's made 23 appearances versus Duran's 20 this year, albeit Duran has been playing more from the bench. Mateta has 8 goals versus Duran's 7. And Mateta has an assist versus Duran's doesn't have one at all. Now, I'm sure, and I can hear Dermot screaming from wherever he is, saying, yeah, but Duran has scored more goals from the bench. That's absolutely fair. Mateta has 1 goal every 222 minutes versus 86 for Duran, but he's also playing in a team with Villa where their expected goals per game are a hell of a lot higher than Crystal Palace. So one balances out the other. Objectively, when you look at it, the two of them are very, very similar.
In terms of output.
And I don't know why you would go...
But in
terms of output.
The first thing I would say about Duran is that moving to a bigger club and getting yourself a starting position from a super sub position doesn't always work out statistically. Look at Leandro Trossard, who is good, but not great. He was doing better with 20 minutes than 90, statistically speaking.
Yeah.
Secondly, did you contrive this entire conversation just to use the word Mateta over and over again?
Yes.
Because I don't see anywhere where Duran has scored a hat-trick in game week 38 to cost me the fucking league on the last day of the season.
I was not going to mention that, Jimmy, but now that you have, that's another feather in Mateta's cap.
Still bitter. Always bitter.
Did I just goad you into bringing that up? No.
No, but the thing is, for 57 million for Duran, if I was in Villa's shoes, I'd be taking it. I think looking for 70 million for him is
100%.
Bananas. However, if he went to West Ham, I think he'd bag a shitload of goals, because I do think he's a very, very good player. And when you see him play, he's quite electric. He's exciting. But I think 60 odd million for a fella, as you said, who has predominantly played from the bench is a lot of money. Like, asking for 70 for a fella who's predominantly been your second choice is what the fuck does that mean they value Watkins at?
They probably think he's worth 100.
Well, Watkins,
and he was last year.
Watkins has the English. Watkins has the English tag, which does inflate. English players will always go for that. There's always the premium on an English player in the Premier League because of the rules of squads, etc. And I think because he's young, that even inflates it even more. So he is probably close to the 100. But does Duran, like 57 million for Duran, you take it. You snap the hand off there. You 100% take that money and you reinvest it elsewhere. They've just brought in, as I say, Malin from Dortmund. Who is a very, very good player. If you looked at him in the Euros, was it last year? He was electric. He was alongside Gakpo. He was as good as what was in that Dutch team. He's just come in. Bailey is there. Watkins, as we just covered. So they have enough of options going forward. Take the 57 million and move Duran on. I don't think Duran scores more than 12 or 13 goals in a season for West Ham.
But then, like, there's actually good forward. Like, if big teams are looking for forwards at the moment, and I think there are, I think there are. Like, United obviously need a forward. Arsenal obviously need a forward. Nottingham Forest are going to throw around for Vissa and Spuzian for Cunha. Like, when you look at that tier of strikers in the Premier League at the moment, there is some fucking very good ones. But I would hope they don't get priced out of moves. João Pedro, like, no offense to Brighton, but like, he could rock up at Man United and Arsenal tomorrow, I think, and he would settle in. You'd have someone like Cunha who could probably go to any of those teams. Like, don't go like same with Vissa, same with Buemo. They could both go to bigger teams. Like, going to Notts Forest from Brentford, to me, feels like a sideways move. I know Notts are having a great season. Nottingham Forest are having a great season, but like, if I was Cunha, Vissa, or Buemo, I wouldn't be going there when you could be looking at a Spurs.
No.
Spurs need a forward that can score some goals. United are in desperate need of one. Jesus, like, if they had a goal scorer, they'd be in a much better position. Arsenal do not have a goal scorer, and it's been killing them for two years, really. Like, Pedro, Cunha, Duran, but not at 60 million.
Everybody has given Havertz a raw deal. His actual numbers are really, really strong this year.
He's fine.
It's just that he scores every second week, and everybody's looking at that tier of team and going, why don't we have a Salah or a Haaland? You know what I mean? Because that's the only context.
If they want to win the
Arsenal
league, they need. I think if Arsenal want to win the league, they need 20 more goals. Like City had that last year with an Alvarez who was able to come in.
Yeah.
They need 20 goals from somewhere. It's not Martinelli. He's not at it. Odegaard.
They need someone. Like, they got out of jail yesterday against Wolves.
They did.
They really, really did. And they need someone. They need somebody to score in games like that, and not just rely on one of their centre backs getting it from a set piece. Arsenal, albeit they are the strongest challengers to Liverpool this year, they are relying a lot on set piece play.
Yeah, they are,
and that a lot has been a lot of the ways they work their corners and their overall set piece play, which is phenomenal. But you can't win it. I don't want to do an Alan Hansen on it, but you can't win a league just by scoring from corners.
Yeah.
If they had João Pedro, and I think João Pedro, out of all of those strikers who are potentially available in the January transfer window, I think he is the best fit for a team like Arsenal. I think you put him in Arsenal's team, and they automatically get an extra 8 or 9 points in a season.
Yeah.
Just on him alone. And that would have been, like last year, that would have been the difference between them winning and not winning the league.
But
Liverpool, if they win the league this year, could probably win it by about 5 or 6 points. And I think someone like Pedro would make the difference and certainly make it a hell of a lot closer.
But Gary, let me ask you, if John Duran is supposedly north of 57, what does that put Pedro, Cunha, and Mbeumo at? Because they're the three standouts for me that big teams in the Premier League should be sniffing around right now. And if I was United, I'd be buying either Mbeumo or João Pedro.
Mbeumo, no contest. It's like, look, you know I'm a seagull, right? I'm a slightly disenfranchised seagull after yesterday's ludicrous display, managing to lose to one of the worst Everton teams ever. But the issue with Pedro is the same as the issue with Duran. He's not playing full games. When he does, he doesn't do a whole pile. He is much stronger as an impact sub. And I don't think anybody is...
Europe would differ.
Say again?
His numbers in Europe would say differently. He's been doing the business on the continent.
Yeah, so maybe it's a question of the quality of what's behind him this year. But I don't know if, again, coming at it from ruthless capitalist terms, if I've got 80 million quid to spend, I know... Oh, we've lost Gary. If I've got 80 million quid to spend, I know I can get Brian Mbeumo. And I know he can play 30 games and he can get 25 goals. And he will play the 90 minutes. He's not particularly injury prone. He's creative. He's generous to his teammates. He puts it in the back of the net. He opens play up. I think Pedro doesn't contribute to the broader team in the same way Mbeumo does, nor does Duran. I think Mbeumo is what United should be buying right now. But Brentford will fucking squeeze every drop of money out of that sale, because without him, their wonder season comes to a crashing halt.
But look, if I was to do valuations now, I'd be putting Mbeumo at 60. I would say 40 is a fair price for João Pedro. I would say 40 is a fair price for Duran, even though I know they've rejected 57. I think 40 is a fair price for him. And I'd say Cunha is probably in and around the same, but that's more so because he has less time left. I'd say Cunha is about 30 to 40, but that's more so what he has left on his contracts than anything.
Yes, but if you're selling to United... If you're Brentford and you're selling to United...
His contract runs at the end of next season, Cunha, so he's just not got the same weight to buy him.
I just think that if United are your customer and you're selling forwards, you've won the fucking lotto, and tack on another 30%, and they'll pay it. For donkeys. Hoyland, Anthony. Xerxes. Fucking useless.
Well, United have started to clear the decks because Anthony's gone on his Alibaps.
Yeah, but he's only gone on loan.
I saw something this week, if I may just tangent a little around this Anthony chap. I saw a lovely 2.5 minute intro video, right? That whole, that like Yo Pierre shit.
It's the worst video of all time. I know the one you're talking about.
I don't think you do. The great man died last week. David Lynch, my favorite film director, I think it's safe to say that. And yes, I'm a middle-aged man with a beard who likes weird movies. Get over it. But I love David Lynch. I love his movies. If anybody wants to know where to start, I can send you some short 4-hour essays on YouTube. So what Real Betis did was they cut together a whole load of clips from Lynch movies. They had iconic scenes from Lynch movies, not the nasty stuff now, but all of these films, like whoever put this together was a serious fan of the man's work, right? And they put them all together. There was a little bit of Twin Peaks. There's a lot of Twin Peaks. There's a little bit of Straight Story, Blue Velvet, Lost Highway was in there. And they cut it all in around their stadium. And it was an absolutely brilliant tribute to David Lynch, and one of the nicer ones I've seen. Unfortunately, at the end of it, the big reveal was that the Laura Palmer central character is Anthony. And I'm not quite sure in which parallel universe of David Lynch's dreaming Anthony is actually a significant player, but getting him on loan, it was a lovely video. We'll link it when this goes up on Statrcast.com. We'll put a link in there because it's a lovely thing if you're a fan of Lynch, and it's fucking ridiculous if you know who Anthony is. So enjoy on both fronts.
I'm going to say something controversial.
Uh-oh.
This is going to get me in trouble on the Twinternet. I don't even know what I want to say.
You're not going to
him and
mock
Jack
David
Gre-
Lynch.
Him and no, Anthony and Jack Grealish are the same.
Oh no.
In terms of they both okay, right. Jack Grealish didn't score a goal or an assist in 2024. He cost 100 million. His 2 goals this season have come. One it was against a League One team in the cup, and last week against Ipswich, I think it was. But regardless, Anthony has the same against the same level of opposition. They've both been not. I don't mean the same as in like Jack Grealish is an infinitely better footballer in the fact that they both signed for 80 to 100 million and have done the sum total of fuck all, and going somewhere new would be the best thing for both of them.
Mm.
Like Anthony can play football, he's just not a Man United player.
Yeah, but Anthony can play. So as of right now, yes, Anthony and Jack Grealish would be the same player. I would agree with you, but Grealish is more proven. He's in the past. He has done a hell of a lot more than Anthony. He was,
100%.
Yeah.
he was a big part of the City team who won the league 2 years ago. He was insanely good that year. He was always very good at Villa.
Yeah,
Anthony
he's
has
had
done
one good
nothing.
year in
Anthony has
five
done
years.
nothing for his career during his career at all, bar one half decent season at Ajax.
Yeah.
And you've got to remember that was Ajax. The Dutch league is not. It's just not to the same level as the English league.
No.
So right now, yeah, they are. I would agree with the same player. I would actually have little bit more disdain for Jack Grealish, not because of the whole Ireland England thing, but I think for someone like Grealish who has proven that he can do it, he is throwing his career away.
Yes.
He is absolutely throwing his career away. Anthony has been shit. He's always been shit. There's actually a little bit of respect that he's managed to get to United and earn the money that what was he on, 200 grand a week?
Yeah, he was on.
Silly.
I actually have a bit of respect for that he was able to steal that level of a living from United. But anyway, Grealish, on the other hand, has taken his God-given talent and is throwing it down the toilet. For whatever reason. He is Stephen Ireland. If you want to talk controversial comments, Jack Grealish is Stephen Ireland.
I don't know who Stephen Ireland is, but I would like to know more about Jack Grealish because I don't think it's a situation where he's been on the pitch and clearly performing badly, at least not in the Premier League. He's not getting the game time.
He's not getting game time partially because of his off-field antics, his general training level, and when he has actually played as well, and he has been given plenty of chances, he's been utter shite.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. There's some offstage stuff going on here.
Yeah. Pep has said in interviews that he needs to work on his fitness and he needs to do better in training, which is essentially.
Do you remember the last person he said that kind of stuff about?
Sterling?
Calvin Phillips. Called him fat.
Phillips. Yes.
Yeah.
Couldn't think of the lad's name. Sorry. There's that Ipswich now.
Goodbye for them, actually. That was a good pickup for them.
It was. It hasn't gone. It was a slow burn start, but I think he needed to go somewhere under the radar and play some football. And that's probably what you're looking at. It's swallowed, done. It's not good. That City dynasty is in a very interesting place, and that's why they've gone and spent a brick ton so far in Jan. Like they've already spent more this January than what the whole Premier League spent last January in getting Race, the guy whose name I cannot pronounce properly, so Kuzmanov, there you go, and Marmouche, who they've gone and spent over 150 on the three of them, isn't it? I believe. Give or take.
It was about 70 or 80 million on Marmouche alone.
Yeah.
Who albeit he does look good. He does, and
he looked great yesterday.
It was funny. I was listening to a couple of chat boards and whatnot. How City were showing highlights of how good Marmouche was in Germany, and then somebody mentioned, but they can't defend in the German league, so he will be shit. And then he went and played quite well, actually, for City. To be fair, against Chelsea this weekend. So, the fact that he from our league perspective, I think the fact that he is readily available, number one, and has played well, and number two, we all know that Jimmy wants him because
10 p.m. we're ready.
Window opens at 10.
Yeah, 9:59. My alarm is ready.
We're back to talking league, are we? So for the uninitiated, at 10 o'clock on the night of the last game of the weekend, the transfer market opens. And because we're moved into eliminator territory, everybody's woken up a little bit. So there's a race at 10 p.m. to post your transfer first. Now, obviously, we're working on a little bit of software that's going to make that a little bit different. But for now, it's good old-fashioned chit-chat with your mates and get your message in first. And what I love when someone posts at 9:59. And then everybody else, absolute chaos, because what will happen is you'll have your transfer ready to go. You'll have picked up a sleeper, some Crystal Palace defender that nobody's been paying attention to, and you post him too soon, and then suddenly everybody goes, actually, no, fuck you, I'm going to have him. So 10 o'clock tonight should be fun. I've got my eye on Marmouche. I am going to be letting go of Buonanotte. Gone very, very cold at Leicester. He's not even getting the game time anymore, which is a pity because he's out on loan, I believe, from Brighton. And he had a good patch, but it seems to be over. So I would like to come out of the January transfer window with 2 Man City forwards, please and thanks. Because I got Savio this week as well.
You did, which was a terrible, terrible decision, particularly with Marmouche coming in.
Well, if it's Pep Roulette, then bet on red and black. I could lose.
Yeah, but it also means you're always going to lose at some point.
I mean, if it was an eliminator team, I'd be worried. But on head-to-head, I have a little bit of space on points. I still haven't really gone below 120, 130 a week average.
I've just set my alarm to remind myself to get in before Jimi this evening. Gary,
I'll be perfectly honest. I don't even want Marmouche other than just to.
No, because I just want him for not Jimi having him.
So what you've really got to wonder, boys, is do I really want him?
Yes.
Yeah, or am I fucking with both of you?
No, because you screwed up this
week. No, you see, now you're just trying to take
I do. I absolutely do, yeah. 100%. And I presume we have all, it has dawned on all of us that 77 draftable players went into the pool over next door in the eliminator this week, yeah?
Yes.
Well, that's going to be fun. I love the first week of the eliminator because everybody suddenly has all of these options in front of them. And everybody's scrabbling for players all at once. And currently, Kim is not last, believe it or not.
Not last.
Oh, wait, no. Yes, she is. But there's a scores update running as we speak. So I'll attend to that and be back to you with an update in just about 60 seconds, gentlemen. The music.
Yeah.
Speaking of scores updates, it's halftime between Fulham and United, and it is 0-0, which is playing nicely into your hands, Jimmy, for a win against me.
It is.
Badly in my hands to beat Jack.
United have had 0 shots on target.
Yeah,
in the first half.
Bruno
Which is not great.
Yeah, they look shite, to be honest with you. I have it on here as well. They're really, neither team is really lighting up the sky at the moment, but Fulham definitely look the better of the two. Which is a surprise, not at all, because Fulham are a proper football team and this United team are something else. It's very sad.
Something else entirely. Is there anything else that we need to talk about? Because the window's open a couple of days. I think we're fairly caught up on that. City have got to spend all of the money. Everybody's scrambling for centre forwards, apart from Spurs, who need centre backs, and Chelsea need a goalkeeper, as per the usual, because Robert Sanchez keeps making mistakes.
Sanchez, Jesus, he's absolutely dire lately. I feel for the guy because obviously when you go through a bad patch as a goalie, it's very visible and it's very heavily scrutinized and you can't avoid it. And the goalie is the loneliest man on the pitch, but he really has not been great for 2 months now. Where would Chelsea be with a decent siege man?
I know who they go and buy. They just won't go do it. We all know who they should get. It should be Emi goddamn fucking Martinez. Emi Martinez is one of the best goalkeepers in the world. If I was in a final of any competition at all, there's only one goalkeeper I want, and that's Emi Martinez. He's a big game man, big game mentality, and he's a superb goalkeeper for the most part.
He is.
That's where I go.
And he's underrated. He is very, very underrated in the grander scheme of things. If you have a conversation with most people about who the best goalkeepers in the league are over the last 3 years, Alisson is there, Ederson is there. Does Martinez get a mention above the first 3 or 4? I would agree. I would 100% agree. Would I take him ahead of Alisson? Probably not. But still, he is an incredibly good goalkeeper. he is full of shithousery, which you want your goalkeeper to be.
Yeah.
You really want your goal. Oh, he is an absolute nutcase, but you want your goalkeeper to be a nutcase like that. You want your goalkeeper to get in the heads of, of forwards throughout the game, particularly if it gets to a point where he's facing you down for a penalty.
I think he starts for every team in the Premier League bar Liverpool.
Agreed. I would agree.
Yeah.
100%.
If you were to go out to the continent, he arguably starts for Barcelona for me. Probably doesn't start at Madrid. Probably starts at Bayern. Definitely starts Dortmund. Probably starts for Bayern actually now because Neuer's at the end of his time.
Yeah.
In terms of Europe, the only teams he probably doesn't start for is Madrid. Yeah,
Real Madrid, or he probably doesn't start for Atletico either because, to be fair, Oblak is a beast.
He's better than Donnarumma.
They're probably the only two he doesn't start for.
Yeah. Who's the Madrid goalie, guys?
Courtois. Ex-Chelsea, and then Jan Oblak, who was a long-term target for United at one point, I think.
Yep. Yeah, you know what? I'd be inclined to agree, and I would then be saying Emi Martinez.
Yeah.
So if I was
Chelsea, and even
that's where I go.
Yeah, and even at that, it's not that Martinez is not as good as Courtois or Oblak. I think he is just as good, and it doesn't make sense to switch the two of them out.
I think he's at that. I think he's at that table nowadays. The three of them, Alisson, Ederson. I think his time is gone to be.
Yeah, I think Ederson's. I honestly think Ederson's head is in Saudi Arabia for a big paycheck.
I mean, he's won what he's needed to win. The love of it isn't there anymore. So if I was Chelsea, I think he's also the personality type that dressing room could actually do with. Do you know what I mean? I think
we mentioned
the transfer for them, Emi Martinez to Chelsea, replaced Robert Sanchez, and mentality-wise, perfect.
Yeah. I mean, we said it about Joe Pedro with Arsenal earlier on. I think Martinez has the same impact on Chelsea, where he gains you 6 or 7 points a season. Ferguson said it before. Alex Ferguson said it before about your goalkeeper. If your goalkeeper is good, he said it about Peter Schmeichel way back when the Premier League first kicked off. He will save you 6 or 7 points a season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that is most likely going to be the difference between you winning and losing a league. Now, I'm not saying Chelsea would win a league if Martinez was in goal versus Sanchez, because they have just fallen off the edge of the cliff for whatever reason, including Cole Palmer, the diamond in my team. But
Gary, if you put those 6 points on them right now, they're third.
There you go.
Yeah, they are, but they're still what? That's still 9-10 points behind.
Sanchez has made an awful lot of mistakes, so I think even just that alone, he's probably worth arguably more than 6 points in terms of how the season has gone. So I think on transfer talk, I'm happy to finish with Emi Martinez should go to Chelsea.
I agree.
And I think it's time, Jimmy. I think it's time.
Okay, so I'm a little bit tired and emotional today because
has a hangover.
I was in the Fizzy Orange last night. So this week's jingle is completely unprepared. However, I'd like to change the tone dramatically because all I can think of while we're talking is the phrase "pray for Jim," right? Like the monkey in The Simpsons, pray for Mojo.
Oh, no.
So we're going to go with prayer. No. We're going to do a Roman Catholic hymn tonight.
Oh, no.
About the quiz, to introduce the quiz.
No. Oh, no.
John, do the fucking quiz, John. Please, John. Do the quiz now. Lovely things in the quiz. Do the quiz now, John.
Quiz.
I feel spiritually enriched and shit. Right, let's do this.
So, as per usual, it's 10 questions and 10 questions only, unless we go to the bonus question, which makes it 11 questions, and thus fucks my maths. We get one opportunity each to answer the question, unless I say we're back in. We can go back in as many times as I feel like, or I can just give you an answer. I will make up these rules as I see fit, as I do every other week. And currently, Gary is leading the table. And I still haven't actually gone back and counted the scores, but I know Gary is winning the overalls.
I don't know.
The sham quiz.
Outrageous.
Question 1. Go on, Gary. What did you want to say?
No, no. Go on. I will be nice.
I love the quiz. It becomes a shambles every.
It's great. It's brilliant. I love it.
Anyway, question 1. Who won the December Player of the Month award?
Gibbs White.
No.
Cole Palmer.
No. You're back in.
December. Wasn't Trent, was it?
Literally last month. Like, we're in January, so they haven't announced who's the Player of the Month for this month. Who won?
Yeah. So was it
Lewis
Trent?
Hall.
Who?
Lewis Hall.
No, it wasn't either of them. Go back again.
The gas thing is, I was actually looking at this the three finalists or the three players who were shortlisted, and I know Gibbs White was definitely on that list.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I backed him.
We'll do one more go around, and then I'm just going to give it to you because you're going to actually be disgusted by yourselves. And we have no Dean here this week to cheat.
Cunha.
No, Jimmy, last shot.
Mo.
No, it was Alexander Isak.
Oh, fuck. Of course it was. Of course it was.
Yeah, it was so obvious. It was right in front of you, and you couldn't see it.
Of course it was. For the record, I am not Googling answers or anything like that. I'm keeping an eye on the United Fulham game, which is
About to
kick off for the second half. So I
think
if I'm typing, you would see this, which I'm not.
I think you boys can see the second screen there is currently on an ad break, and I'm actually a little bit worried about copyright, but we'll probably get away with it. But that's what's on the screen beside me here is the halftime ad break between Fulham and Man United on a TV channel that shall remain nameless.
Anyway, question 2. Which team has scored the most goals in the Premier League this season?
Liverpool.
Yes, 1-0 Gary.
Had I gotten that wrong, I would have been like, Jimmy, did you even hear that question being asked?
That wasn't a question. That was a fucking Wi-Fi speed test.
Question 3. Which goalkeeper has the most mistakes leading to goals this season?
Onana.
Martinez.
Neither of them. Go again.
Sanchez.
Gary 2-0. Lads, we literally had a good rant about this.
I actually thought that was a trick question, which is why I went with Onana.
And thus the quiz has once again
descended into chaos.
3 questions in, 1-0, and 2 tap-in questions. Oh, this is going to end up terribly.
Whoa! I have 2 questions right.
Yeah.
Fine, you have 2 questions right. Anyway, 2-0. Question 4. Which team have City signed Omar Marmoush from?
Dortmund.
No. Wow.
Benfica.
Oh, no. Who else? It wasn't Dortmund. Oh, fuck.
Came from the German league.
Yeah, Leverkusen.
No.
Werner Bremen.
No. Oh, my days. Lads, we're going to get eaten on the internet for this. This is shocking.
I don't give a shit about German football.
It wasn't Dortmund.
No.
Okay, is that his guess?
No, that was my first guess, to be fair.
I'm just going to tell you the team because you're going to be annoyed about this one again.
It's Bayern, isn't it?
No. Gary's just going to name out the whole German league. And where he came from is going to be last. It was Eintracht Frankfurt.
Okay.
Oh, well, that's the depth. I thought, was he at Dortmund at any stage?
No. Maybe
just as well that wasn't a career question.
Right. That question is based on an irrelevant fact, right?
It's based on
there's only one place, and it's the list of players.
And he had to come from somewhere to enter that list.
Doesn't matter.
Anyway, question number 5 of this shambolic quiz. Who currently holds the record for the oldest goal scorer in the Premier League?
Thiago Silva.
No. He's number 3.
Oldest goal scorer in the Premier League. Frank Lampard?
No. Go on.
Cristiano Ronaldo?
No. He was 40 years of age, just to give you context.
This is someone I'm going to know, isn't it?
It is someone you're going to know.
Yeah, because he's going to tell us the answer when we don't get it. So that's how this works. Keep up.
40. There's not that many 40-year-olds who have played. Fuck's sake. It's not James Milner, is it?
No. Will I just give you the answer?
No, I'd like my fucking guess, please.
Have your guess, so please.
You had your guess, Ronaldo.
You're back in.
Oh, so you get extra guesses now as well? Did
Just
this come up
go for
before,
your-
Gary?
Hold on.
Fucking
Hold
every
on.
week.
Just let it be
We
a free
had
for all.
2 each.
This one's going to be a free for all. Just have that, and I'll tell you in a minute. Go on, Jimmy.
Fucking Matt Letizia. I don't know.
No.
The fuck it is.
After all that arguing.
Ian Rush.
No.
Who was it?
Teddy Sheringham.
Right. Did he play that?
We would have got there probably. We would have got there eventually. Probably like this time next week. But
Dean Windass second. Third is Thiago Silva. And fourth is Ashley Young, who needs to play for another 2 seasons.
I should get the
But
points
season and a
the
half.
closest.
I think he gets it if he scores toward the end of next season. Which I would be very much there to see.
Proceed, sir.
6
Germany
questions.
still
What's
doesn't
that?
matter,
6
but
questions.
proceed.
6 questions in, and we've only managed to answer 2.
Yep. Anthony has left the Premier League on loan. Where's he gone?
Betis.
Gary got there first.
No, he didn't. No, he fucking
Yes, he
didn't.
did.
'Cause I'm
Yes,
hearing
he
him in
fucking
real
did.
time.
Yes, he fucking did. Sorry, Jimmy.
That's a Wi-Fi test question. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. You let
And
me
now-
talk about it for 5
Now my
minutes.
personal favorite questions. The career path question.
If I tell you what, right, when you're halfway through, I'll answer the question, and then maybe it'll get to you by the end.
Yeah, the career path question. I have played for Brighton, Newport on loan, Peterborough on loan, Leeds on loan, and Arsenal.
Leandro Trossard.
Trossard.
No.
Ooh.
You both shot nice and quick on that, but no.
Neto.
Brighton and
Do-do-do-do-do. 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 It's too late on a Sunday to be recording because the brains don't work for the quiz.
Sure words.
Again, this is somebody who we're going to go, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. Will I tell you? This is how the quiz is running now.
Daniel
more of
Welbeck.
No, this is becoming a learning and education session.
Just give me a second.
Take your time. I have nothing but time. This is terrible.
Oh, stop. It's insane. Oh, no, fuck it. Go on. Leave it alone. Go on.
Ben White.
Jimmy, how did you not get that? Like, he is your...
I'll show myself out.
Yeah. It's been a while.
That's it. I'm done. Goodbye forever. I'm done. You'll get this message in about 90 seconds. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Oh my god! Do we continue or do we call it?
Do you know what? I'm just going to give the last 3 questions. Just
go on. Sure, why not?
What is the biggest fee a Premier League team has received for a transfer?
140.
No, who was it?
Oh, see, it's your man Alvarez, the City lad who went to Madrid, Atletico, no?
No, the biggest ever.
Grealish.
Biggest ever. No, it's Gareth Bale, wasn't it?
No.
Ooh.
135 was the fee. Gareth Bale went for about 80.
And is this, am I allowed to ask, is this going to a foreign team or within the Premier League as well?
It's all transfers.
So you're covering both. Okay, sorry.
Both. But in this case, they left the league, to give you a hint.
They did leave the league and went abroad.
This is going to be like Mane or someone, isn't it? It's going to be someone who's out in the desert.
No.
No. I'm guessing this is somebody who's gone to or PSG. Probably Madrid, actually, because Madrid always poach players. Is it Eden Hazard?
No. He went for a pretty penny. He was high on the list. Gary, Jimmy, you're both going to be disgusted when you hear this one.
If it's is Jimmy out or am I still in or what?
Just free for all. Have at.
Whatever.
Courtois.
Continue.
Oh, fuck that! I'll see myself out.
He went for 135.
Yeah, to Barca.
That
And as a
seems a
Liverpool
lot.
fan, that's the money they went and got. Van
How
Dijk.
did I not get Liverpool won the league off the back of that money? How the fuck did I not? Oh
Is he still at Villa?
no, he is back home in Brazil.
Okay.
So he is.
All right, 2 questions.
I guarantee anybody who's listening to us right now is screaming at the screen. Screaming, throwing things at the screen.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing that the comments aren't there. Anyway, the Tractor Boys.
Do you know what? Before we go any further, can I just say the 1 week where Dean had a chance to win without being a cheating fucker, and he doesn't turn up.
This was such an easy quiz that Dean, like the two of you have overthought all of the answers rather than going for the obvious in front of you.
Yeah.
This would have been a Dean quiz.
Yep.
The Tractor Boys is the nickname for which Premier League team?
Ipswich.
Yep. Jimmy's livid.
That's it. So that's just it. It's just like
we have the last question. Naomi Girma has completed the first WSL £1 million transfer. Who she signed for?
United.
No,
Chelsea.
That was my other
from
guess.
the San Diego Wave, or Wave, if you will.
Wave.
Wow.
Like a wave pipe?
Wave, I don't fucking know. That's the best quiz you've ever done. I'm
John,
disgusted in all of
that
you.
was appalling.
That was
actually appalling.
That was horrendous. But in some good news for you, Jimmy,
Go on.
it looks like Harry Wilson has gone down with an injury and is being replaced by Adama Traore, which pretty much hands you the win unless Hoyland decides to go and get a hat trick.
You see,
which I'm sure he's about to be sub for Xerxes.
Almost definitely, yeah. Like Hoyland, it would need to be, because it wouldn't even need to be a hat trick because the damage Hoyland does, he does to Leno, and I have Leno in the 6 at the moment. He's my last man. Yep. But I think this one is looking like a foregone conclusion at this point. Now, that being said, I also fully expect the next 2 things to pop across my screen are the words Ange sacked and Hoyland hat trick, because our predictions don't usually play out very well. But it's looking like it's a fairly uninteresting game at, hang on, I can do this, Craven Cottage?
Yes.
Did I do the thing? Did I get the thing right?
I did.
The thing.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
You did, and I will be going to a game before the end of the season. You're all as welcome to come if you want.
Oh, that'd be fun. Whereabouts is Fulham?
West
Is it London, isn't it?
London.
Oh, yeah. That'll be a spin, yeah.
Yeah.
Right spin.
Staff on tour.
Oh, we do have fun on our Statter tours. Reminds me, before we go, do have a look at statterdraft.com. Things are moving along nicely. We're getting all our lines and boxes and squares and ones and zeros in place, but there's lots of lovely written content there too. If you have, 10 minutes to spend reading and fancy giving your thumbs and your eyes a little bit of exercise, statterdraft.com, hit the blog. Our John writes most of what is up there. I occasionally dabble. And we get the odd guest contribution from elsewhere as well. So do jump in, have a look. It's all good stuff. And of course, from there, you can also join the waiting list for when we launch the app. The app is happening soon. It is. It's going to be super soon, but that's the best place to keep in touch. So I always say we keep forgetting to say that at the end of the podcast. But yes, there is a whole, this isn't just 3 idiots that kind of know football. It's there's a whole big machine there of cool shit going down that we're bringing your way as soon as we possibly can. So have a look.
Fantasy football is about to be changed.
Mm-hmm.
For the better.
For the better.
Mm-hmm. For the better. Is that it?
Indeed.
I think that
was it. To sign off. Indeed. To sign off, gentlemen, in a world of Ange Postecoglou's, be a Graham Potter.